you've made it back. Have you solved the mysteries of my estate? Who killed Andrew Joseph, Veronica Bristow, and Clementine Dahl? Have you guessed my identity and the role I have to play in all this? I do hope Danielle Harker has been able to solve this crime. Let's find out.
Do you know who killed my husband yet?
And poor Clem and Mrs. Bristow.
I have my thoughts.
Please just tell us so we can get out of here.
I needed you all here again to work out the final details.
So you don't know who it is?
I mean, we did put all of our faith in an out-of-work PI.
Oh, don't harass the poor woman.
I'm telling you, there is no murderer. It's all for the cameras. Let's all smile at the cameras.
Would you just give it a rest already? People have died. For real. Died.
Let's review the facts, shall we? Earlier today, Andrew Joseph was speaking with his wife. They were having a heated conversation when Andrew began to experience signs of distress. We know flowers had been delivered to his room by mistake. We also know that he had just eaten his lunch, cooked by Agnes Richards.
I told you, I didn't.
Agnes, let her talk.
Andrew Joseph sadly died. Over the course of another hour or so, I questioned all present at this estate. I called the full group together for questioning, where Mrs. Veronica Bristow exhibited similar symptoms of distress and tragically died. We know that shortly before being questioned, she too finished eating a meal prepared by Agnes Richards. Mere moments after this, Clementine Dahl, the gardener, also experienced distress and died. The difference here being that she had not eaten for several hours.
So it wasn't me.
We know that all of the guests of the estate signed up to participate in this competition. The rules being such that they would spend a week in isolation, and if they lasted the week, they would receive $1 million. We know the staff all answered ads offering them a week-long job, which would also pay them $1 million. We don't know who our host is, why they started this competition, and why they have chosen to do nothing about the 3 deaths that have happened here. These are the facts that we definitely know.
It clearly had to be Agnes. She poisoned the food.
I would never.
Yes, the food connection does seem suspicious, but what we lack in the case of Agnes Richards is motive. I've seen no evidence that she bears a connection to any of you. She simply came here to do a job and collect a lot of money. Furthermore, we cannot link the food to Clementine's death, and none of the rest of us got sick from our meals.
But Andrew and Veronica did.
You, Miss Winters, did have the means. You are one of 2 people able to move throughout the house with access to the guest rooms through the windows in our doors. Could you have passed something to one of our 3 victims that killed them?
Me? I couldn't hurt anyone.
No, I don't think you could. And like Ms. Richards, you lack the motive. Motive that perhaps Andrew Joseph's own wife had.
How dare you?
The Josephs seem like an adoring couple, but Andrew Joseph and Gia Huxley had been having an affair for years.
An affair. It was over between the 2 of them.
No, Jewel, it wasn't. The affair wasn't over, as Jewel would like everyone to believe. It was still going on.
You were still sneaking behind my back, Gia. I knew you were a liar.
I believe Andrew was the one doing the lying. I never said it was over.
So, did Jewel really know that the affair wasn't over and kill her husband out of spite?
Of course I didn't know it was still going on.
Then why did you wreck my show?
Fine. Let's say I did wreck your show, which I'm not admitting to, by the way. Why would I kill Veronica and Clementine?
True. You don't seem to have any connection to Veronica or Clementine, but perhaps there's something I've missed.
Why not accuse his mistress? She had motive too.
But of course, Gia. Was she mad that her lover wouldn't leave his wife?
I couldn't kill Andrew. I loved him.
You didn't love him. You don't love anyone but yourself.
The flowers were supposed to go to Jewel. Was there something in the flowers that got to Andrew by mistake? Gia has accused Jewel of destroying her fashion show in Brooklyn a few months ago. Was she trying to get even?
I was mad. Of course I was mad. She ruined everything I had worked on for years. But I would not kill her over it.
And I still can't tie Mrs. Bristow and Ms. Dahl into it. I see no connection between them and Ms. Huxley either.
That's because this isn't really happening. I keep saying that.
Competitive Poppy Campbell. She'll do anything to win. She'll bribe the chef with some of her earnings. Would she kill to win?
Of course I wouldn't kill to win. That's absurd.
But you would use bribery.
Yeah, I may have offered you some money for information, but it's a huge jump from that to murder.
And let's not forget Franklin Riggs, the other member of the staff able to travel the estate, the one with direct connection to the host. Was he acting on the orders of the host? Or maybe, is he the host?
Of course not. I was just following instructions. I told you I answered an ad. I didn't create the ad.
And there's writer Vivian Amberley, washed up, hasn't written a bestseller in years. Was she willing to do whatever it takes to get the $1 million? To make sure that she was the last person standing?
And how do you propose I killed 3 people locked in their rooms? All the while, I was locked in my room.
Ah, yes. There's the hardest part of this whole thing. 3 people locked in a room, dead, killed by someone, and no one is able to go into those rooms or leave their own rooms. Isn't that right, Mr. Tippett?
Of course that's right. We all know none of us can leave by now.
Corey Tippett, son of Samson and May Tippett, the famous actors. You recently got into some trouble. Isn't that right, Mr. Tippett?
We already went over this.
You smashed up a hotel room. It was in all the tabloids. You were really mad. About what again?
I told you, I had some upsetting news.
And what was that news?
Oh, wait a minute. I remember reading about that now. Corey Tippett smashed up a hotel room after learning that Samson Tippett wasn't his real father.
Why does that matter to any of this?
Samson Tippett isn't your real father. That must have been hard to learn. The only father you've ever known lied to you.
Of course it was hard. I lashed out. It was wrong and I shouldn't have done it.
But Corey, who is your real father?
I don't know.
I think you do know.
I really don't.
Mrs. Bristow told me that you kept acting like you knew her.
I know her business.
You knew she was losing the fortune left to her by her late husband. You knew her fortune would go to Reginald's illegitimate child instead. How did you know that?
I didn't know.
I think you are Reginald Bristow's son. You are going to take Veronica's inheritance from her.
Reginald Bristow's son?
Is that true?
So he did have a connection to Veronica.
Is Mr. Tippett the killer?
I trusted you. Was I going to be next?
Corey, you don't seem very surprised to learn this.
Fine. Let's pretend I am Corey Bristow. And let's also pretend I didn't just learn this. Why would I kill Veronica?
Because she was fighting you, fighting the legitimacy of your claim.
And what about the others? Andrew and Clementine.
He does have a point.
Yes, what was his connection with the other two?
I think that you didn't mean to kill Andrew. You meant to kill Jewel.
Me? Why would you want to kill me?
You're out of your mind, Ms. Harker.
Andrew ordered the flowers for Jewel. Ms. Dahl told Hetty to take the flowers to Mrs. Joseph, but Hetty messed up. She took them to Mr. Joseph.
But I'd never seen or talked to Corey before yesterday.
Exactly. There's no connection between us.
It all goes back to Gia Huxley, fashion designer on the rise. I believe he thought that if he got in good with Gia Huxley, that he could ride her coattails.
I wouldn't want Jewel dead.
But Corey didn't know that. He thought you hated her for ruining your show and keeping you from Andrew.
This is sick.
And a total fantasy.
And Clementine?
Collateral damage.
What do you mean?
Let me back up a little bit. 3 victims and their murderer, all in total isolation. How did the murderer pull that off?
Do you have any ideas?
You all noticed the conservatory room Clementine was in. What you may not have noticed in the conservatory was a flower called the oleander. Clementine herself didn't notice it either, or didn't recognize it. I did notice it. It's poisonous. If we were to look closely at the bouquet in Mr. Joseph's room, I think we would find that Clementine put the oleander into the bouquet, not realizing how poisonous it is, only thinking it looked pretty.
And how would Corey have known there was oleander in the bouquet?
He saw it. When Hetty was on her way to deliver the flowers and the meal for Mr. Joseph,
He stopped me to talk about the cot.
he recognized the oleander, thought it was for Mrs. Joseph, and then what?
He flirted with me.
While he was flirting with you, he brushed some of the oleander into the soup. You took it to Mr. Joseph instead of Mrs. Joseph.
Mrs. Bristow?
I went back to his door to finish talking about the cot, and I still had Mrs. Bristow's order.
And a twig of the oleander was still on the tray. He saw the opportunity to get rid of the person standing in the way of his inheritance.
And Clementine, you said it was collateral damage?
She didn't realize the poisonous oleander was there. She's been handling it since yesterday.
Exactly. Her death was an accident. Whether it came from her touching the plant or that she somehow ingested it, we may never know.
That's quite a fantasy you've come up with, Ms. Harker. Right out of one of Vivian's novels. Well, maybe not. It might be too good for one of her novels.
So, Miss Harker, do you think you have solved the crime?
I do.
So do I.
Well, great. Now what? We need the host.
I can let you all go.
Of course.
Excuse me?
What do you mean you can let us go?
Miss Harker, do you want to explain?
Vivian Amberly is the host.
But the host is a man.
That's what I wanted you to think.
You orchestrated this whole thing. Yes, that makes perfect sense.
What kind of sick game are you playing? My husband, Veronica and Clementine, they died.
And I do regret that very much.
But you refused to call the police, to let us out. You let them die.
Why would you do this?
Because it's going to make one hell of a story.
That's why you wanted to know about my past and why you kept telling me what questions I should ask, saying what I should do next. You have been playing us all along.
You did this for a story idea?
You don't know the terrible time I've had not being able to write anything worthwhile. Good writers are also avid readers. I read the news. All the news from all over. I was always hoping something would give me a new idea. I saw the story about Gia Huxley's destroyed fashion show. I read her accuse Jewel Joseph of the date. I read the story of Corey Tippett destroying a hotel room over bad family news. I saw that Veronica Bristow was losing her husband's company. I tied it all together and I collected you all.
Collected us?
You all are such good stories and you all weave together in such a beautiful way. I wanted to see what you would do all put together in one space.
You let people die.
I didn't think anyone would die. I just thought it would be an interesting social experiment. I never meant for anyone to get hurt.
But after my husband died, you made us stay here.
Yes, the first death was unexpected, but after it happened, oh, I could just see it all there on the page, how the readers would love it. I just wanted to see what would happen next.
But more people died. Is that what you wanted to happen?
I didn't think it would go that far. I didn't see how he could kill more people. I never imagined anyone could be killed in total isolation.
You underestimated me, just like everyone else.
So, you admit it was you?
I do, and I'd do it again if I could.
You're a monster. Andrew didn't deserve this.
I might not have meant to kill Andrew Joseph, but he made life hell for you and Gia, didn't he? I set you free.
What a horrible thing to say.
Poor Veronica Bristow. She didn't deserve to die.
Veronica Bristow tried to keep me from what I was owed.
And Clementine Dahl.
As Harker said, Clementine was an accident.
Don't you at least feel bad about her? She was such a sweet woman.
Come on. How bad of a gardener do you have to be to not know what oleander is?
Oh, you're just evil.
Please, Amberly, let us call the police to arrest this man.
I will allow you to call the police and I will turn myself in as well as an accessory.
You will? Why?
Just think how the scandal will make the book that I'll write even more popular.
Great sense of remorse.
So this really wasn't a prank, huh?
No, Poppy, it wasn't a prank.
Danielle, I think you should go back to the business. You're good at it.
You might be right. I did miss the job.
I will give permission for all the doors to be opened except for mine and Mr. Tippett's. And Riggs, you may now call the police.
Oh, wait a minute. Do we still get $1 million?
Well, if the book sells, I think you have all earned some of the royalties.
So we can leave now?
We can leave.
Should we meet at the entrance?
Screens off?
Screens off.
I am Kevin Allen, and I played Andrew Joseph.
I am Matthew Lee, and I played Franklin Riggs.
I'm Priscilla McFerrin, and I played Veronica Bristow.
I'm Laura Scott Wise, and I played Jewel Joseph.
I'm Wendy Lewis, and I played Danielle Harker.
I'm Alex Bitzer, and I played Corey Tippett.
I'm Priscilla Gerald, and I played Gia Hudson.
I'm Namita Vakil, and I played Vivian Amberly.
I'm Madeline Lee, and I played Poppy Campbell.
I'm Marianne Hoke, and I played Agnes Richards.
I'm Rachel Diamond, and I played Hetty Winters.
I'm Debbie Donovan, and I played Clementine Dahl.
I'm Matt Bond, and I was the understudy.
I'm Michael Shipman, and I was the stage manager and sound man for the show.
I'm Julie Yazinski, and I was the stage manager.